I'm Dana Hindman-Allen, and I'm running for Clackamas County Commissioner.
Well,
as a fifth-generation Oregonian, I remember...
Yay! Are we on right now? We are on! What you just saw was a little bit of a snippet of what's about to come. But my other Backwoods brother is not here. Welcome to Backwoods, brother. My name is Tony.
I'm Joel, and apparently I didn't know we jumped back into the camera. I apologize.
Joel, no problem, bro. Bro, guess what?
What?
Last week I felt like a hobbit. Today I feel like a king.
Oh, yes.
Look at these.
Yeah, I know. I got some new chairs here.
Some new thrones?
That's like, 2 feet higher than we were sitting before.
Yes. Well, I got to tell you one more thing.
Yes.
You make a lot of good points on the show, and I thought I would bring something. And every time you make a good point, I'm going to go...
Oh, that is rings in my ears. Wow.
If it brings forth any issues, I'll take it off, but I will make sure it's really light. Guys, welcome to the show tonight. We have a special guest. I'm not going to steal the thunder because we have to first get right to like, share, and subscribe. We're so glad you're with us. But I want to get to the ridiculous right away.
Yeah, we're popping right into the good stuff, right here into the ridiculous. I mean, you got some good stuff you wanted to bring up.
Before you want to know what's ridiculous?
What's that?
You and I had a chance to go to an awesome party this weekend, and that party, you think, so when I go to parties, I go to picnics. I don't go to parties, right? I go to picnics where you know what's in the meat.
Yeah, well, fried chicken.
Fried chicken and okra. What's in the meat.
Unless your Aunt Betsy's coming, then you don't really know what's in the meat.
Aunt Betsy, you bring a lot of grease with her. So we had a lot of grease. So this week in particular, it was a bunch of cool, great people, but I had no idea what to expect. And I'm standing here in line and waiting for the buffet table. And I get to the buffet table and you tell me, Tony, look down. And I look down at the meatballs. I'm like, yeah, they're meatballs. And he goes, no, look closely. So I put my one eye down there, and I saw gold flakes.
Yeah.
Gold flakes. Gold flakes, people, in the meatballs. And I ate one, and I've been looking for my gold lately. I'm not going to tell you where.
Wow.
But anyway, do you remember that?
I've never been more valuable than that night.
Well, you didn't want to put it up, but no. But it was a good party.
I don't understand the appeal of desire to want to eat gold. And I asked. I thought it was fake. I thought it was maybe some.
Oh, you think it was fake?
Yeah, I asked the chef, and he says no. It's actual 24-karat gold flakes.
I was like, why isn't that should be on my finger, not in my stomach?
I'm like, what? After I noticed after that, I told you about that.
Yes.
Those meatballs disappeared really quick in front of you.
I just ate all I could. Now I'm worth something. Just shake me, Anyways, that was just fun times. That wasn't the ridiculous. That was off the chain. It was really good.
Yeah, that was absolutely. That was
fun.
Great view too from the house.
Yes, and thank you for the surprise, bro. That was a surprise, you guys. He surprised me. It was awesome.
But I told him before I knew for sure it was gonna happen.
Because we can't keep secrets, can we?
Yes, I never had it.
But you know what's really ridiculous, and I wish were a secret?
What's that?
Jesse Smollett.
Oh my goodness.
Do you have a picture of Jesse Smollett? Oh my goodness. What's the caption, brother? Would you read that for me?
I got jail time because I'm black.
He says, I got jail time because I'm black. You didn't get jail time because you're black. You got jail time because you're stupid.
You broke the law.
You broke the law. Mr. Man, let me refresh you of what you did. He's sentenced to 5 months for staging a hate crime during actually one of the most turbulent times in our country after George Floyd. So he decided his acting career wasn't good enough. So he decided to hire some second-rate actors, and it ended him in jail time.
Maybe it was a job interview.
It was a job. Well, they failed.
The license plate stamping.
That's what I said. If you read the post, it's like, enjoy your license plate stamping.
Exactly. That's where I got it from.
But guess what his comeback was? It was the black card. He said, I believe that race determined the sentencing for him.
Did you expect anything less? Obviously, look what he tried to fake a racial attack. He tried to fake a hate crime.
He tried to fake a hate crime.
Like you said, during the most divisive time in our country, when there people are rioting and burning things down for anything at all.
Yeah.
I mean, he should have got more time because there were actually riots based on what happened there until the truth came out.
Absolutely.
That guy should have got years. He got 5 months and he's whining about it.
He's fine. Well, today, I guess I saw a little caption that he is out for good behavior. I don't know. But he does have some type of
good behavior.
I don't know. You might want to check that out. But
36 hours.
But he goes on to say this as if he's not whining enough. He expected jail time. He believed that he'd be treated more harshly for a nonviolent offense than others convicted with similar crimes due to the fact of his color of the skin.
If you commit a crime, you should expect jail time.
Well,
I mean that just goes with the fact you're a criminal.
And I love that rhyme. If you do the crime, you should have jail time. I'm a poet,
and I don't know.
And you don't know it. But he called it, brother, systematic racism in the judicial system. He told his team that he was, and I said dead on, and predicting the outcome, calling it unfortunate and sad. Do you know what's sad?
What's sad? What's sad?
That he left me speechless. And I can talk.
Yes, you can.
I can, right? But he left me speechless. Man, when you do a crime, when you stage a hate crime, and all that's going on in our country, and you don't expect any repercussions from that, you are crazy. Let someone else, not my color, try that.
Yeah. Well, actually, speaking of, since you just mentioned it, someone actually just put in here, Jesse Smollett was released from jail on Wednesday night.
That's what I thought. I saw that come across.
After an Illinois appeals court granted an emergency motion by his defense attorneys, Smollett's legal team is looking to delay his sentence and grant him bond until their appeal on his conviction is decided on. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of crap is that?
You said it.
This is the center point wrong with our justice system.
This is what's wrong with the justice system.
You commit a crime, your butt sits in jail.
Yeah.
I mean, he was convicted.
Yep.
Sit in jail. Who cares what the appeals court is?
Yes.
Sit in jail. Do your time.
Yes.
I think if he's out for this one, they should triple his time because he got out of it. Thank you.
I had to do that for you. Good point. I'll get rid of it in a second. Okay. But no, good point. Good point. This story is still to be unraveled.
Exactly.
But, I hope that people will use their sensibilities in this. If he gets off, this opens up all types of doors.
Oh, exactly. I mean, the 500 criminals released from Portland, I think, started that landslide. And then, of course, the governor's crap to releasing people early from their sentences. It's a landslide.
It's a landslide.
It's absolutely just ridiculous.
So it's ridiculous, and you ended up on that one. Yep, yep. So you guys weigh in on that and tell us what you think.
Yeah. Well, he said he did. This comment says he didn't even spend a week, not even 3 days. WTF?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well, you know what else besides ridiculous? We also have breaking news.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. A breaking wind.
I put it up here so I won't mess. Oops. I'll put it in the chair until someone comes. Go ahead.
Hey guys, so breaking news. Of course, this is a big deal, and it hurts so bad. Russia decided to impose sanctions on the Biden administration. You can't come to our country. Yeah,
no country for you.
Yeah, so Russia's response to all of those heavy sanctions, which by the way, they can't turn in the world market. They don't get any innovative tech, and all these crazy things that are being blocked from, which they should be. Their response was, well, you can't come to our country. Oh, and any assets you own in the country, we're going to seize. But honestly, they probably own some assets in the country. It's probably what they did that for.
Yes.
And they're all saying, we don't own any assets and it doesn't bug us. Yeah, right.
But brother, there's some other breaking news with that today. Today, the Ukraine president. You want to share that?
Yeah, no. Why don't you go and share that one, because I may have missed something there.
Well, actually, we were talking about it today, but didn't he give an appeal to don't leave me hanging? He asked Biden if he would consider a no-fly zone.
Yes.
Yeah.
He approached the Ukrainian president, Zelensky, approached the Congress and had a big old conference. His gigantic, 500-foot screen in front of him was kind of funny to see the picture.
By the way, he's an example of every leader, because he's a leader.
He looked like a president. He looked like he was a soldier.
He looked like a soldier.
He had his sleeves all rolled up. I expected to see a cigarette pack tucked in the outside.
But that's who he is. He stays in there with the people.
Exactly.
Kind of reminds us of our mayor. Anyway, I have to throw that out there.
Yeah,
but he stays in there with the people.
Exactly. He's fighting. I feel like I expect to see him out there with a rifle or something in the way he's dressed.
Yes.
But he requesed to the Congress, to
a leader of leaders
in NATO. It was the Congress in NATO to get a no-fly zone above the Ukraine, and to help him get some jets. And it's
to also pull out all assets.
But
from
wasn't there also a
Ukraine
news
or
story saying that?
Russia.
Yeah, well, I think those are the two big things.
The two big things, yeah.
Yeah, and wasn't a news story saying that the peace talks are going well between Russia and Ukraine?
Yes.
Yet there's a big
blurb
story
on my
about him
screen.
asking for a no-fly zone.
Like where? Because a no-fly zone wouldn't that? I think that Putin said that would be a confirmation of an act of war. I'm like, well, I think we're already there.
I'm not really scared of Putin after seeing how bad he's botched Ukraine.
Uh-huh.
I have no fear of Putin. I mean, yeah, he's not he's crazy, but I don't think he's dumb enough to use nuclear weapons because that's going to screw him as well. And so he can't invade. He couldn't invade a country that he spent months surrounding. He had troops stationed to the north. He took the south, and he had all along the east border. He had troops repositioned.
Yes.
He's been working on it, and he still couldn't. He still can't take Ukraine.
Yeah.
He said it would take a weekend. It's been what, 3 weeks now, and he's losing the war.
But a lot of people that are coming into my office over here are affected by what the images they're seeing coming out of Ukraine.
Yeah.
He is literally bombing civilians. And I remember calling you one night and you were saying, that's where I've heard a lot of reaction from you being a veteran. That you just don't go in there and mess with the people.
You if you're an honorable, upstanding soldier, leader, president, you don't attack civilians. You go after military-based targets.
Yep.
It's soldier on soldier, and Ukraine has a standing army. It's not the biggest in the world, but they have a standing army. It's not like they're going and trying to fight insurgents right now. They actually have an army. Yeah. Attack the army. Don't attack civilians. That is a cowardice, horrific thing to do.
Well, you can't get any more cowardice than to bomb a maternity.
Yeah, I saw that, and a children's hospital too.
Yeah, and sending a clear message how heinous it was.
I mean, war crimes need to be prosecuted when this is over.
Absolutely.
We got a couple more comments in here. My grandmama has always told me, you do the crime, you do the time, and she meant it. My mom borrowed her car without permission, so she turned it in stolen. Mama got caught. Cops asked what she wants to do. Grandma said, keep her.
Let me tell you something. I'm a little old school, and during the riots, if I had ever seen my teenage daughter downtown doing that, I will be one dad with my one eye and cane going down there and going, get in the car. I didn't teach you that. I'm taking you down to the precinct. You know, it's just, you do the crime, you pay the time.
You know what? In some cases, back in the old days, it's actually safer to go to jail than come back and see grandma with her flipper.
Wait a minute. Do you remember the old days?
Yeah, I mean, the old days. Yeah,
I knew you were old, but not that old.
I'm
older than you. I'm 48. I've seen more of the old days than he has.
I'm wisdomist.
A wisdomist. That's a word.
It is now.
You do have a cool beard there.
Yeah.
Guys.
I just realized that's like right where the food falls down. I think it's bleached it.
Read the rest, brother.
Did you hear they told us to give them back Alaska?
What?
Just give it back.
Russia said give back Alaska?
Yeah.
Well, the same amount of money we pay for it.
Come over and take it. We'll return it one bullet at a time.
Oh, God. One says, I don't want my tax dollars sent overseas. We need to secure the southern border. And FDJB is leading us to World War III, yes. And there's so much propaganda, I don't believe any of it. So much has been proven false.
Yeah, well, truth is also actually false too, if you believe the fact checkers.
Yeah.
Did you hear that now that they're actually checking? They're actually checking the facts before you type and post them. As you're live typing them, they're checking what you're writing, and if the fact checkers don't agree with it, you can't post it.
So it doesn't necessarily mean it's fact. It means if you don't agree with it.
Basically, yeah.
So my disagreement means that it's fact.
They're censoring you during your actual thoughts.
Right. All those poor people Russia is bombing, hospitals, churches, places, people are staying for safety.
Exactly. The governor of Alaska said, come try, we are all well armed.
Read the rest of it, bro.
Apparently there is no biochemicals that can be destroyed. Ukrainian civilians, Biden's fault. So,
thank you for your input, guys.
So we didn't put this chair here for no reason.
I know. It has a bell on it. That's why we put it there, right?
We had hold the bell.
Oh, okay. I gotta lose the bell. He's told me to lose the bell, y'all.
I didn't say that.
He said lose the bell. Yes, he did.
It's still on the camera.
I'm
I'm just messing.
Can y'all see it now? Okay.
I know you're trying to hide it.
Yeah, I was trying desperately.
Anyways, but we have a special guest today.
What?
Yes.
Who is it?
Well, we have a awesome, amazing candidate that's gonna be running soon. But before we get to that part, we have another special guest. Yeah, Dana Hindman-Allen will be joining us here shortly.
We got her in the house.
Yes, but before we do that, we got another special guest that's coming on.
Oh, there is another guest. That's right.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Sign one down.
I'll just let that go down for a second.
See how excited
Wait
I
a
am
minute.
for
You're not
split second?
Dana.
Well, I'm just
You're-
coming down for a split second. I feel like Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. So,
Mayor Sean.
I got you guys again.
Hi.
So
Yes.
Let's talk
Have a
about
seat.
this
Have a
gift.
seat. Have a seat.
The wife was out there the other day. She said, honey, I love you to death, but you stink. So she got online and she got Buff City soaps.
Buff City soaps.
It struck me the same way. I said, Buff City soaps.
Yes.
Anyway, she comes home and she orders this box. It comes in the mail. I open it up. Sure enough, there's a soap and there's this Commando soap. And I'm like, just taking Commando soap. And Commando means to me, oh yeah, you're in the shower there all by yourself.
Yeah, you better
What do
be
you do?
commando
What
when
do
you're
you
using
do?
soap.
You trying to say you're going commando right now?
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
So I had to share this experience with you guys.
Yes.
So I said to the wife, you've got to order that for Backwoods. These boys need these soaps.
As he looks at me,
Yeah.
he needs a soap, Uncle Sean.
Hey, I took my shower this month.
That's right.
This is
That's
what.
right. That's right. No,
So let's take a quick look.
Let's look at it. Let's look at it.
It's a Commando soap. It's small.
Oh my
Ooh, look
fun
at
to play
goodness.
with in the shower.
It smells like lilies.
Just
Wow,
remember,
very manly.
Oh, it does actually.
Does that
Mm.
smell good?
And you can get a soap like this too.
And who says men don't care about their shower?
That's right.
Right?
That's
That
right.
is awesome, guys. Let's
Once
see
a
if
month, like you said, right?
That's right. That's
Let's
right.
see which camera we're on here.
Right there. Right there.
Is there another
And then
camera? This camera
while
over here.
we're in the soap mode here, I just want to comment on your
That's good.
comment a few minutes ago.
Get on your
on
soapbox.
Russia.
Mhm.
I've got to say, I am old. So when we're talking about old, I'm a little older.
Mhm.
But
Just
I
a
do
little.
remember growing up that every time you turn on the TV when you were young, you saw things that were helping other countries, were helping poor people, or helping people that were, without water or food. We've always done that as a nation, right? And here we sit at one precipice. We're ready. We have the means. We can help these people, and we don't do it.
That's what everybody's
What
saying.
does that say?
What does that say?
What does that say?
Yep.
Before you go, by the way,
Yep.
quick 2 notes that came on here for you. Better than Axe body spray, lol. And
Hey, I
someone
use
says-
Axe, guys. Wait a minute.
Someone says, Mayor Sean, yay, Commando.
Yeah. No,
Go
but
Commando.
I love
Commando
what you
Mayor.
said, Commando. Yes.
Yeah.
But I love what you said about that. We're at this crossroads. What are we going to do?
We are.
What are we going to
We
do?
are. It speaks to our country as a whole. Are
Yeah.
we going to step up and help these people be free? Enjoy the same freedoms you and me do every day.
All right.
When did
Right.
we drop that line?
Couldn't agree
All
more.
right.
All right.
Couldn't agree more.
Anyway,
This
I
is
just
the
want to
mayor.
stop by.
Thank you so much.
Estacada's
That's awesome.
mayor right here.
Estacada Mayor Sean
Yeah.
Drinkhorn right here telling us to clean up our act.
That's what-
right.
yes.
Well, I'm hoping it does something for you. I don't know if it's clean or what.
You know, my mom used to wash my mouth out with soap, so maybe
right.
that's what's going to happen.
That's right.
Yeah, if I see
Here
you
you go,
eating
Mom.
over there, I'm going to
Well,
throw
no,
things.
I-
I'll let you guys deal with the rest.
All right.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Sean.
We actually have another special guest
Man,
going on. But
yes.
before we do that, we actually have a very special video that talks all about her. They introduced her for us.
Watch this.
Check this out.
I'm Dana Hindman-Allen, and I'm running for Clackamas County Commissioner. As a fifth-generation Oregonian, I remember a time when Oregon was a vibrant, pristine, beautiful place to live. Portland was a jewel, thriving with possibilities. There was also a time when the politics were more balanced, less divisive, and people worked together. With the encroachment of Portland's governing style, combined with Salem's short-sighted destructive policies, Clackamas County has seen growing homelessness and crime, overreaching mandates, and the prevention of public participation in things that matter most to people. My goal is to bring a new style of governing to Oregon, create a culture where diverse perspectives are welcomed, and protect our quality of life, freedoms, and liberties. Please join me while we restore what is ours, a Clackamas County that we love, cherish, and call home. A return to balance, common sense, and stability. I'm Dana Hindman-Allen, and I approve this message.
Woo!
guys. So we have
Dana Hindman-Allen. Thank you so much, Joel and Tony, for having me on the show.
Most
I really
definitely.
appreciate it. I'm glad to be here and ready to get into it.
definitely. So as you got a taste of the craziness that we have in our show when we first start off. It's a little nutty, and apparently we've been told to clean up our act.
Well, there's not a lack of material in this country to work from.
Oh,
I tried.
Yeah, exactly.
I tried. Keep talking, you guys. I was trying to put up a sign, you guys, but everybody should have a sign. And do we get signs in our yards?
Yes, you get signs in your yards. Absolutely.
So everybody should have a sign, okay? Everybody gets a sign. Should have one.
I think you can reach out through your website to get
yes,
that.
danafororegon.com is my website.
Awesome.
Yep, and that's actually in all the descriptions, guys. You got a link right to it. It's nice and easy. Check it out while we're watching us.
Yeah. Dana,
Yes.
you know, I had a chance to meet you for the first time at the party this last weekend, and you struck me as just a person, by the way, as a person who is very easy to get to know. See, you seem like a person that is in charge. When you get fired up, you get fired up. You have some definite ideas. And it didn't come from anywhere. It didn't birth out of air. It had to be birthed in you. So can you let us know a little bit about who you are and your family, and just go for it?
Certainly. So I am a fifth generation Oregonian, and I grew up actually in Portland. I lived in Portland for 26 or so years.
Yeah.
Fifth generation. I moved out to Clackamas County 22 years ago. I went to Lincoln High School. I remember when Portland was eclectic, beautiful, wonderful city.
Where's Lincoln located?
Right downtown, Portland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went to Lincoln High School, and then I went to Mount Hood Community College, and then achieved my bachelor's degree at Warner Pacific College on the east side.
Warner, nice.
Yes.
Good school.
I have two kids, adult children. They're 27, 29, and two grandchildren. And I'm a real estate agent, have been for a decade. Been in the financing industry as well, residential mortgages. I've done theater, television, a multitude of things. I've worked in the school district. I was an educational assistant and a substitute teacher, ran a drama program, an after-school drama program. So I have a lot of different things I've been involved with, a lot of work history that sort of combine my efforts that I can bring into office.
That's the animation I saw on Saturday, was that you were very open. You have a presence about you. And being in art and being in drama, you have to have that. So, and charisma.
Absolutely.
well.
So you're no like stranger to like public speaking and getting out there and getting your voice out to people, right?
No, not at all. Actually, I did for the last 21 years. I've had an agent in town. I've done some film, television, commercials, car commercials, bank commercials, a variety of things over the years. But
Car commercial, huh?
yeah,
I know.
I know.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
You kind of caught me off guard a little bit, actually.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Can we hear the voice?
Oh, price, selection. We're right in the middle of it all. Yeah.
Give me a
Broadway
Subaru.
no, that's Broadway Toyota.
Oh, Broadway Toyota. Give me a Toyota. Now, he's a Ford guy, so you know.
Oh, yes, Ford. I mean, there's nothing else but Ford. Everything else out there is just trying to catch up.
See, and how
just like a Samsung.
But in all seriousness,
that's a dig.
In all seriousness, my desire that was really born in this time of the last 2 years. If you would have asked me 2 years ago if I was running for office, honestly, it would have been the furthest thing from my mind. But
Why?
well, not that I'm not involved. I've always kept up with the political spectrum, the geopolitical spectrum. I like to read. I'm a voracious reader. But satisfying career. I sell real estate. I good family life. I love to travel. Everything, honestly, really satisfied.
Wow.
But this last 2 years has just illuminated the absolute corruption that we have. The corruption that we have in this state. I mean, we have been like the test ground for the craziest policies possible.
Yeah.
And it's hurting people.
Yeah,
We're going to jump into that too.
When you can say that we can beat on craziness coming out of versus like California, we've really fallen off.
Yeah.
We've fallen off.
Yeah, it's gone extreme.
How has you're a real estate agent? You have a dual role, and for a person that's about to jump into politics, myself, running. How do you sustain a business and not have politics taint that business, or how does that happen as an entrepreneur yourself?
So if once
Suggesting that it does.
So once I'm elected or now running?
Now running.
I think people just know, people that meet me know me. I'm a balanced person. I'm not an extreme person. So really what comes out of my mouth, regards to politics, is actually really just wanting quality of life, wanting our independence, our freedoms and liberties. And really those are ideals that touches everybody's life. So
great answer.
It's not a problem. People that meet me and know me know that I just want what's best for the state, and I want to see people thrive.
Yes. And you're on and off the stage. You're the same person.
Absolutely.
And just to confirm, you're running for county commissioner, Clackamas County Commissioner. So
yes.
You're going to be right in our own backyard, making decisions one level above the city. So people here in the city or in this county here are going to be, right there with your constituency. So someone's already asking you if they can have a nice big sign or two for their yard.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Find out who they are, and we'll make sure it happens.
They gave us the information. We'll get that information to you. So, but so
did you say? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go by me. I'm still pulling up notes.
Okay. Your husband?
Yes.
Is he a doctor?
No.
Well, that wasn't the one. I was Lisa.
Yeah,
No.
That was Lisa.
No,
Yes.
he's actually a union pipe fitter, local 290, has been for 32 years.
Oh,
and he raced cars for 26 years. And he was going for NASCAR at some point.
Really?
Yeah. He has 3 championships, he got it, thanks.
Do you ever get nervous with him doing that?
No, he's not doing it anymore, but actually I raced with him for a year.
You
I know
did?
it's a little
You raced
known
cars?
secret.
I can tell you she does, yes.
I did for a year. I got Rookie of the Year.
What?
Yeah, I thought if I can't beat him, I might as well join him. He wanted to be out at the track all the time, but he has pulled away from that. We got in the travel bug.
I think the big thing is that just shows you're not afraid to take risk, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. No, actually, I welcome risk, and I love learning, and I love new challenges. I've never shied away from a new challenge.
Well, I definitely think coming into the county with there's a lot of things going on, there's going to be a lot of big challenges for you, especially without everything kind of hitting us over the last 2 years. For example, our crime rates. We had heavy rising crime rates. How will you address those crime rates?
Well, I actually had the pleasure of meeting with one of the deputies, and morale is low. The police force doesn't feel valued. They don't feel appreciated. And first of all, we need to bring the morale up. We need to enable the police officers to be able to do their job. You cannot hinder them. I mean, they're there to increase public safety. We don't want people calling 911 and nobody's on the other line. So what I will do is look at their budgets, see where they're at, see what they need. They feel spread thin. You can't do your job if you're too spread thin. So adequate funding, find out. That's what I will bring is discussion and find out what they need, where they're at.
Did you say adequate funding?
Yeah, adequate funding.
I hear so many police officers say, don't defund us, fund us. So that we can have those programs and services that we need. You say you're literally taking the rug out from under us.
Well, because when they're defunding it, they're thinking, the people that are trying to push for defunding, they're trying to think, people like Tony are going to run out there and take care of domestic situations. And I don't know about you, Tony, but I wouldn't want to run out there and take care of domestic situation.
Not without a badge on, so that I'll leave it to the police officer who's funded.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think Biden said in his State of the Russia address, or State of the Union address, or what? No, was it? Yeah, State of the Union. I think he said that he was for funding the police.
Oh, of course.
That's what I thought.
Masks have dropped, and that's politically convenient. Biden now is on the bandwagon of, going opposite.
Well, I think what happened is somebody slipped the second half of Trump's speech.
Right in there.
His.
Yeah.
And he was giving a State of Russia, and then it changed over to the State of the Union because it was Trump's speech on the second half, right?
But something, yeah. The policies did work. You have to admit.
Didn't Pelosi tear it up? So how could he get another copy? Remember, didn't she just down the middle one?
Oh, well, yeah. American politics.
Oh,
one of the things I've heard a lot, and between Tony speaking a lot to law enforcement, like outside friends, things like that. Both of us have a lot of friends that are law enforcement, and so they've always told us it's training. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
that's what I'm hearing constantly, and is that what you agree, Tony? That's what
Yes.
you're hearing from our friends.
They said train him.
Yeah,
Train us.
give us better training,
Mhm.
more training on how to deal with these situations.
Crisis situations.
Exactly,
Because
exactly.
they're confronted with a lot of really stressful situations, and so they need adequate training in crisis management,
Well, and
de-escalation.
de-escalation. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, just saying de-escalation skills
Yeah.
to where they don't, they can manage their own personal stress. There's a lot of officers go home at night and they're pretty wound up. I mean, they're in
Yes.
emergency situations most of the time.
Yes, they are.
Exactly.
Yes, they are.
exactly.
So
Someone was asking for a sign earlier, and I don't know where you get your signs printed, but we actually have a really good sign printing company right here in Estacada.
Yes.
And
Oh, that's good to know.
they make all our printing signs and all of our stuff. And when Tony's running, I think he's going to get some signs from them as well. That's Whitney Signs, and they make amazing stuff right here. Why don't we go and take a quick look at one of our sponsors here? We're back in now. Hey guys.
Woo!
Hey, yep. Oh, Dana, right there. This
Is
just
it
one of
upside
the
down?
signs
Oh, it's right
there,
side
so-
up. There it is.
Yes,
Thank you,
and
Tony.
You're welcome.
so this just in. Beep, 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 beep. The mayor has officially endorsed Dana Hindman-Allen for
Dana
Hindman-Allen
Hindman-Allen.
for county
Dana
commissioner.
Hindman-Allen.
I know.
Yes.
Wow, why is that backwards for me?
That's okay.
Hyphenating really, trust me, it creates a lot of issues.
Oh, my name's hyphenated too.
Okay,
I get
so
it.
you know what I'm
get
saying.
it. Yep.
Also, I hear that Tony should give that a shot because that's much harder to say than I thought it would be.
No. Don't pass it to me. We already got it. I got the sign. You read the sign.
Yes. yes. So, but yes, we just heard just now that the mayor's giving you his official,
Excellent.
well, official you can get for being on Backwards Brothers
Excellent.
endorsement.
Hey, I'm honored.
You should be good. You
I'm
should be
honored.
good for the
Yes,
running.
Definitely.
Can we continue a little bit on crime, rising crime? Because
Yes.
what goes along with that is economics.
Mhm.
You know, in low-income areas, there tends to be a rise in crime, and you can attribute it to a lot of factors. But what other plans do you plan to have in place in terms of meeting the crime need?
Well, as we talked
Which was a
about,
very bad way to ask it.
adequate funding is
Yeah.
key. A lot of communication, a lot of discussion on the areas, the troubled areas, and how we can set a new precedence in those areas. I was reading an article today about Jerome Margulis Jewelers down in Portland, and they've been there for 90 years. I remember he gave me a ring when I was a kid. He was friends with my parents.
Yeah.
They're leaving because of the crime.
Yes.
All of our best establishments, our old, long-standing establishments, are leaving the city of Portland.
Mhm.
They're fleeing the city because they don't feel protected. So this economically will have repercussions if we do not set the precedents. That we will not tolerate vandalism. That we will not tolerate crime,
Yes.
robbery. So it's really about bringing the standard, setting a new precedence to where it's understood that we will prosecute it. We will, if you do the crime, you're gonna have a consequence. It's
Yes.
it's like when you raise your children, they're not doing so. They don't do all their homework. They fail on the test, or it's the consequence
Yes.
of your actions. So we need to set that precedence in a way that is understood.
Yeah.
So
You were just talking about losing big pieces, and a good example of that was, didn't Intel just build a $5 billion? This is their home, but this has been their home base. They just built a $5 billion headquarters over in Indiana. Was it?
Ohio.
Ohio.
Yes.
Ohio.
Mhm.
Instead of here,
Exactly.
they built their headquarters there, which would indicate they're planning on moving their headquarters out of Oregon.
Case in hand, businesses, because of the political volatility, this is my perspective, the political volatility, the crime, the uncertainty, the every 3 weeks a new tax proposition coming out is like rapid fire. People are feeling very unstable, and there's like a
Yes.
low level
Yes.
anxiety in this state.
Yes.
That we just like, what is next?
Yes.
And so this business, they see the handwriting on the wall, and so they're leaving, and we're going to see a lot more of that if we do not get a hold of every office and start changing the tune here and be more business friendly.
This is the year to do it.
I love what you said about low level anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
There is a low level anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and that cues the fight or flight response,
Mm-hmm.
and people are fleeing.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead. By all means.
Well, you're a counselor.
Yes.
You got it there.
Mhm.
I have a human development major. That was my bachelor's.
That's
so
why.
Oh,
You spoke my language when you said that. Way.
Yeah.
But yeah, you spoke to the person, the felt need.
Yeah.
A person needs to feel secure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of like the low level anxiety, actually one of our users' comments says, Dana, how do you feel about the Portland creep? Referring to Metro pushing
Mm-hmm.
low income housing into Estacado, or basically the pushing them out here. That's been a long, at least in this area, has been a big concern and kind of like an anxiety for people. Whenever
Yes.
they hear anything about it, it usually raises people
Mm-hmm.
up and get anxious about what's going on there. So,
Mhm.
what do you feel about that?
Well, referring to, when people just watched my opening video, this is truly what I want to bring is a new style of governing, and that we are referring back to the people, that the people are participatory in the governmental process. So if people are not feeling
Yes.
comfortable with that, and they show up to meetings and express their concerns, that needs to be taken in consideration. In Oregon, we have had a government that absolutely has abandoned the will of the people.
Mhm.
I mean,
Hear that.
severely for years. It's not just the last
Yes.
2 years. It's just become
Yes.
extremely apparent in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, when they taxed the businesses, Kate Brown, an executive order, 17% tax on businesses that were shut down, small businesses,
On top of
Yeah.
during the pandemic. It just was cruel. It's
Yeah.
just cruel.
Yeah.
It's cruel. So,
Yeah, if I was one of those businesses, when I sent my check in, instead of a check, I would have sent a picture of telling them where number one.
mhm.
Mhm.
That would have been my payment to her.
Mhm.
Here's your 17%.
So we're not a business friendly climate. So
Exactly.
to your the question, yes, we just need to be participating with our constituents.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Part of what hurt businesses were the mask mandates, because you had your everyday people now policing.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Talk about a double bind. You know what I'm talking about
Oh,
there. And because of
Hostile
that
environment.
hostile environment,
Mhm.
yes, we don't know if it's going to. And I'm going to just say this too. Since the mask mandates are lifted, and we see Facebook posts about this all the time, we are Backwoods brothers. We are for freedom of choice.
Mhm.
That's what we're about, with freedom of choice. If you choose to wear a mask, good for you. If you
That's
choose
right.
not to wear a mask, good for you. Let's just leave it that simple.
Mhm.
But if mandates were to return, how would you address those situations there?
I would sit down with my fellow commissioners, and we would be getting a resolution laid down in the county, because I was one of the people that was sending in resolutions to the Clackamas County Commissioner, Board of Commissioners. I sent a resolution. I testified twice. They just couldn't get everybody on board with passing the resolution, but I would be absolutely, totally 100% down for passing a resolution and protecting the county, protecting businesses, protecting us from this hostile, divisive environment.
Yes.
It's not good for kids.
No.
Not good for kids.
No.
Not good for people. Not good for relationships. And it's just like it's setting this new culture in Oregon that it's just not. It was a friendly, really neutral place for years.
Oh,
Yes.
exactly. It was a good mixing pot,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
you get I love to keep Portland weird because we get so many different people and cultures, and we all mix together.
Mhm.
That's what did it so much. And then now look at it, so we could be more divided.
Right.
We got
Right.
a few comments from people on here. I just want to catch up on a couple of these.
Sure.
First one actually is for you, Tony. It says, "I support you 100%, Tony, on running from," and that's from Kurt.
Oh, thanks, man.
Also, Malala is present, by the way. They want to let us know.
Hi, Malala.
Hi, Malala.
Yes.
Excellent.
Do you want to grab the next one there?
Yeah. Actually, how would you address parental choice in schools in terms of curriculum and their social integration classes and those types of things?
Well, something I'm big on is freedoms and liberties. And if you really look at everything that's going on from the economics, from school, prosperity, it's all stripping our liberties away. So I believe that parents should have the freedom to have the money follow the child, so they have options, because really it's not one size fits all. I mean, we have to have options. And why have we had that freedom taken away? Think about it for a minute.
That's
because
it.
it's control. It's dictating what you're going to do with your own child. Who knows best but the parents on what to do with your child? So I'm all for pushing politically to be able to encourage school choice. And I do know a lot of people that are trying to put that school choice out.
School choice.
Yeah, I know, like Brandy and I don't want to speak on your behalf, Tony, but I think we've all been agreed that there's some issues in what's been taught in the schools, and we would love to be able to pick where we're sending our child and definitely be involved in the curriculum. I mean, how many times have we spoke to the school the last couple of years about their curriculum?
Yes. There's another caveat to this, though, too, because, some people would wonder, well, are we villainizing teachers? How far does it go because you were a teacher.
Yeah,
I was a teacher.
Taught, I was an educational assistant. My daughter's a teacher. No, teachers are taking what's coming down to them. They're teaching what is being handed and delivered in the curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
So
what can teachers do when they're inside of that whole fishbowl, if you will?
what can teachers do? Well, they can voice their opinions. They can go to their unions. They can express their concern. They can build coalitions within their with their staff. They can they can be vocal. They can go to their legislators. They can start talking about it. But there's this sense that the union, you're going outside of that genre, so it's tricky. It's a fine line.
It's a small fish in a big pond.
Yes.
It feels like sometimes.
Exactly.
A lot of teachers are not into some of the curriculum that's being taught either.
No.
They feel like it's not age appropriate. That children need a neutral learning environment. They don't need to have a politically charged environment.
Yes.
Exactly. It should be able to just learn as kids learn in school and not have to worry about the adult things. Let them worry about the kids that are age appropriate. And that's the thing I think that they miss so much. We're always trying to dump these adult problems on them. Anywhere from trying to figure out their gender to what's going on in the political sign, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
If you watched Brandy's show last week, which was a great display of age appropriate curriculum and how the damage it could do if we teach that out of Erik Erikson's stages of development.
Right.
Sometimes on the 6th stage of Erik Erikson, the adolescent, that's when they begin to discover what identity looks like. Not in your first and third graders.
Third graders, first graders.
I'm still pretend play.
Yeah.
I still want to be a king one day and
I'm still pretend play
peasant one another day.
They don't need to grapple with adult concepts.
No.
And even some of the concepts are like even adults are, struggling with those types of concepts, let alone a child.
Yes.
Yes, I'm still trying to get a grasp on life here,
Yes.
So,
we live in Oregon, and it's gotten a little wild.
It's a Wild West over here.
Yeah, it is.
You're going to bring some civility to this, though, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Dana,
balance.
Someone says, Dana, you're absolutely correct. So many friends, so many businesses, so many public servants have left or are wanting to leave. They are so sick of the crime and the terrible direction the state is going.
Yes.
So, and have you heard of Estacada being called a cop town?
No,
they call us a cop town.
I have
Really?
not heard that.
Yeah, they call it.
Tell us.
Yeah,
A
there's
cop town.
lots of law enforcement live out here. We're pretty heavy population on the law enforcement side.
Bring them all.
Yep.
Bring them all.
So, and we're trying to catch up here. There's a whole load of them here.
Brother, there's too many people real fast moving down to Texas, though. Y'all need to stop moving.
Yeah, we need you to stay.
Stay. We were talking about that Saturday, weren't we?
Yeah.
Stay in town and fight,
Yes.
please.
Yes, I definitely.
Yes.
At least
Don't
one good
retreat.
benefit is they're telling everybody about the show. We're getting more and more viewers out of Texas right now.
We get a lot of views out of Texas and the Midwest. And
Because I think everybody that lives in Oregon, we stay here because we love the surrounding beauty.
Yeah.
We like the resiliency of people.
Yes.
We do have some cutting edge aspects of Oregon that have always been really positive. It's just gotten way out of whack. And so we just need to reel it in and bring it down the fairway.
Well, exactly. Where else can you drive 2 hours one direction and have a beach?
I know.
And 2 hours the other direction and have high desert.
And high desert and mountains in between.
And everything in the valley. Yeah, you can't get that anywhere else.
No.
So it's worth fighting for.
It's worth fighting for.
Absolutely.
We can't retreat. We can't retreat.
No.
Someone says, end, catch, and release. They are criminals, not fish.
Yes. Look, what we saw downtown is despicable. I got called in for jury duty, and I couldn't even find the entrance to the Justice Center. I mean, they had like big castle doors that were built around the big doors. Yeah, big, huge wooden doors,
Right.
fences around. It was, I mean,
Wow.
a
Downtown,
guy that
right?
it seemed like he'd been camped out for a year, lighting his fire in the morning across. It's just, Portland is just had this aura of despair around it.
It makes you think of
World
like
despair.
you're thinking like a third world country.
It's
Mhm.
awful.
It almost sounds like you describe what you describe like an embassy in a third world country. You know.
Yes.
It's like Gotham.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes.
I mean, that's what
we
it reminds
become
me of.
Gotham.
Yes.
Yeah, it reminds me like
Gotham.
Gotham, in
Gotham.
the Batman movie. It's
Absolutely.
Like, it's gotten a little dark, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely time to do something.
Yeah.
It's past time to do something. And I had a comment, and brother, do you have a comment about doing something in here? And I can't find it. I'm going to find it.
There's a bunch of I don't know if we it works out in here, but I can read one real quick.
Yeah.
Clackamas County can lead the way to
There
a
it is.
better, safer Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
We can definitely be
Yes.
an example that way.
Absolutely.
Especially when Portland's creeping out and coming out, and they're trying to encroach on it. Having a solid set here in Clackamas County.
Mhm. Agreed. Yeah, protecting quality of life in Clackamas County is paramount. If mandates come back, we need to lay down resolutions. We need to keep the safety. We need to keep. I'm tired of seeing garbage. I'm just going to get right down to
Go ahead.
basics. I'm getting tired of garbage all over the streets, off of every
wow.
off ramp.
Yep.
Why
Yes.
are they not cleaning up the garbage? We're going to get it done.
They
Because
are.
they is not doing it.
Is it an option to build like a big fence around the county?
Right.
Yeah. So
Hey.
I don't want that. If I see something, we're gonna go get it done. We're not gonna leave garbage anywhere. I mean, it's
Right.
just it attracts more of the same kind. You know, when like in Portland, when you see on every off ramp, you see
Yeah.
just massive piles of garbage. Well, that sets a standard, a
It-
very low standard,
Standard,
and it attracts
exactly.
more. So
And it attracts
Exactly.
despair leads to
Yes,
more despair.
yes. So we want to keep it clean. We want to keep Clackamas County safe. We want it to be a nice place to live. We want to have it thrive. We want to bring some work, high paying jobs.
Make those other counties want to be like Clackamas County.
Exactly. We need
And
to
maybe make a
model.
change.
And this is one thing I want to bring to the table, that we're not just going to stay in our county, in our little area. That I want to reach out to other county leaders. I want to
Alright.
reach out to senators,
Network.
reach out to, and build a network of people that care and start moving forward with that. That's what I want to do. That's who I am, and that's what I want to bring.
Speaking of network, do you have a particular governor in mind? One of our viewers wanted to know that.
Oh, I'm very fond of Mark Thielman. I really am. I think he's got a lot of what we need moving forward. I really do. I know Bridget Barton is really a good contender as well, but I'm pretty fond of Mark. I think he's been a superintendent of a school district. He's really good working with a lot of different people. I think he's got a lot of grit moving forward to tackle some of the corruption.
Yes.
And he's actually stayed open the whole time during the pandemic. He has actually fought the government tooth and nail. So he's been in it. So
Definitely.
yeah, but
Okay.
those are some kind of my top choices right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yes.
He'll love that shout out.
Yeah, I was going to say, here's the endorsement right here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Big old stamp across.
Absolutely.
With China shutting down due to the newest strain of COVID, do you think Brown can try to lock us down again?
I think the last 2 years, if it's taught us anything, that nothing is sacred to them and that nothing's off the table for them. So I think we need to be prepared for anything. And I think we need to be ready to voice our opinions should it come down the pike.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope not. I hope that their desire to win elections supersede more tyranny. So, which I don't think they're going to win.
The legislative body has the power to override the governor.
Agreed.
Just so you know, so get the right people in there, and it won't be a problem.
There you go.
Contact your senators, contact your House reps. If we even see that coming down the pike, it is up to we the people to start participating in the government. And I cannot emphasize that enough.
Yeah.
We've allowed it to be on autopilot for too long, and here we are. So now it's time to reclaim it.
Oh, definitely.
Here's another one. I love this one. What's your thoughts on staff shortages of schools denying students full access to education? And this is a two-parter. And how do we address this? Well, actually, here's a three-parter. Kids don't get to make up the years. Their learning potential is being destroyed.
So staffing shortages.
You know, it comes down to the budgets, and that's the biggest problem we've had in Oregon. It always seems at the end of the budget, they're saying, oh, we don't have enough money for the schools. Well, there needs to be some, and I'm speaking to the state situation right now, there needs to be some serious revamping of the budgets, because there is no reason that children should be put last in the budget. They should be at the top of our list.
Yeah, I'd say the education should be at the top.
Absolutely.
And some of the welfare programs should be on the bottom.
Absolutely.
If we take care of law enforcement, we take care of infrastructure, we take care of education,
Agreed.
we take care of those core things, and then if there's money left over, then we'll deal with welfare.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
And then, how about we do a cleanup of the welfare system while we're at it,
Yes.
Give it to people, give it to the most needy
Yes.
first, and then work
It's
our way
supposed to
down.
be a bridge. It's not supposed to be a way of life.
Exactly.
And the second part is, how do we address this? And actually, you just did. In some ways. So, yes. Another thing that needs, I think it's time, but the other thing that needs to be possibly improved is school lunches.
Oh, yes.
My daughter came home and she said the pizza had one pepperoni on it and you could see through it. But I know a place that has all the pizza that you could possibly want and more, and it's good pizza. And it's called, here in town, Hitchin' Post Pizza.
Nice.
And when I first moved here, I had a chance to go. It has everything for the whole family, games and fun, and just a great atmosphere, and all the pizza you want, and you can check it out right here.
Bring it on.
Okay. Hey guys, I hope you got a chance to see this. It's great pizza. And you know what? Your comments are coming in like pizza. So we're so glad about that, and we're going to get to them right now.
How do they come in like pizza?
They come in more than pizza. I don't know what the heck
I
I'm
don't
saying.
know what the hell I'm saying. All I know is I want pizza right now.
All I know is that she's in the house, and I'm just tongue-tied, just tongue-tied.
So someone asked a direct question. What's your stance on the Second Amendment?
It's a done deal. It's in stone. Shouldn't even be a discussion anymore.
I mean,
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother.
It's there.
Mhm.
Yeah. The Second
Yes.
Amendment, that's it. I mean, it was put in place for protection from a lot of different things, and it needs to be solid.
well, when someone once asked me what I thought about gun control, I said that's using two hands, right?
Yeah. Look, it's totally a Second Amendment. I'm pro Second Amendment.
I'm pro Second
100
Amendment.
Look at Australia.
Yes.
What's been going on over all the tyrannical stuff that's been going on around COVID. Look at all the lockdowns that's been happening around the world. We didn't experience that because we are, a heavily armed, society.
But look at Ukraine.
Yeah.
They handed out guns to their civilians. I was wondering if that would happen here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, did I ever tell you I found out more about the whole wooden gun things?
You did?
Yeah, they were handing out wooden training replicas. They're for training at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're handing out the wood ones for training. But when they were handing them out to fight, they were handing out real guns at that point. But the wooden ones that they were trying to say they're handing out to fight with were actually no, those are for training. They're doing training at the time.
right.
Oh, wow.
And they turned those pictures around. I saw a bunch of other articles clear that up. That's why you haven't heard anything more about it.
I was wondering about that.
So sorry, side note that I
No,
mentioned.
good.
The founding fathers knew what they were doing when they put those protections in place.
Yes, they did.
God forbid we ever need to, use them, but they're there, and it keeps everybody honest.
There you go.
Exactly.
There you go, brother. Go ahead.
Hire more teachers, teacher assistants. Let parents volunteer.
Ooh.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Get them involved.
Yeah, there's always seems to be a shortage of teachers' assistants, and there needs to be more. The class sizes has always been an issue. I mean, one teacher per 35, 36 kids. It's too much.
It's too much.
It is. There needs to be some team teaching there with educational assistants. I agree.
But Dana, someone said that they stopped school volunteers. Is that true?
I didn't know. I didn't.
I wonder if is it
That
just our
must be
district?
just for.
Or is it during COVID?
During COVID, because I didn't know
Maybe
that.
it was because of COVID. Person who typed this in for us, if you can give us some clarification
Yeah,
on
that'd
that,
be
we would
great.
love to get that out. But man,
Oh, parent volunteers are essential.
they are.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, when I worked in the school district, parents would come in, they'd prep a bunch of, projects, they would help, they'd be there to help, one-on-one. It's valuable.
Well,
Absolutely.
But the other way to look at it is if the parents aren't there, they can't catch you when you're trying to do it. When the curriculum's trying to indoctrinate.
Right.
So, and I'm not saying that teachers are trying to do that,
Right.
but here, I remember on Brandy's show, one of the interviews she talked about, we talked a little bit about schools, I won't go deep into that, but they're talking about one of the teachers, a second grade teacher, she says that she is not in the curriculum, but she injects her own thoughts on a certain subject into it as she's teaching.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on teachers that may do that, and how do we combat against that?
Well, it's tough because we do have freedom of speech, but there is a point where there are things there needs to be boundaries, as I said. And I think that to a point, your own personal things in the classroom, there's a place for it. And I think certain subjects really belong between the parents and the child.
There you go.
So I think that just
teach the
teaching, teaching, staying on the subject, and talking with students in a way that doesn't breach that kind of that sacred right that you have with your own child. I think it's a fine line. It just needs to be conversations within the school, and teachers need to know that, and there needs to be conversations with the principals and the staff that, hey, there's certain things that just belong to the parents that we just need to stay out of.
I love that question though too, Dana, because I meet people in my office. They see me on Backwoods Brothers, where I tend to express a little bit more of my ideas, but in the counseling room, that's not a place for that. They didn't come to pay me to hear my thoughts and opinions. They came to receive what I've learned academically and involve my personal self in the delivery of that, not tell an extra story that has to do with me. It's really easy to do if you're professional.
Yes.
Be neutral.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Exactly.
So professional boundaries.
Yes, professional boundaries.
That's a good description of it.
Yes. But that's up to the principals to educate their staff on professional boundaries and protocols. So, and if parents have a problem with that, it's up to them to go in and bring it to their attention.
What about transparency and accountability in the school teaching? We talk about it in politics. What about on the school side?
Well, I totally think there needs to be transparency. I mean, parents should have a right to know what curriculum is being taught. I mean, that's where they need to go to the school board meetings, and we've had a problem with people being able to weigh in during COVID. It's been a problem.
To the point of the FBI being called?
I heard about
Yeah, so we've got some challenges ahead.
Labeled as terrorists?
We've got some challenges ahead, but I think people need to just stay persistent, stay professional, and express themselves, and don't let up on it until we get things more balanced to where it's public participation with the school district.
And Dana, there's a term that's been used that teachers are, and I've heard it on several talk shows, Democratic talk shows, that teachers are first responders. I agree with that to a certain extent when it comes to neglect, when it comes to mental health issues that are clearly proven from incoming from outside the school. If a kid comes to school and they're dressed in tattered and dirty clothes and things like that, that's worth a follow up on. But are they first responders in parenting socially? Values and all of those things, those things that we should be learning at home. Are they first responders?
I think that if a child asks a teacher, I think there needs to be the exchange, but there also has to be, again, it goes back to the teacher having professional boundaries. There's certain things that you don't breach that trust, that there has to be that separation to where you don't go into subjects that are, I guess, loaded subjects.
Loaded subjects.
That
nuanced.
That I think that again comes down to staff being briefed on what are loaded subjects that we're not going to get into. But the whole educational environment is kind of a fine line too, because you're in an educational setting, and certain subjects need to be educated on, but then, like I said, it goes back to the age appropriate setting.
One of the questions our viewers asked And sorry.
No, you're
That's
good.
okay.
What are thoughts on the Newburgh counselor/teachers' reaction to parents?
Ooh.
Do you feel our community could have more mature discussions about concern?
Ooh.
The Newburgh, are they talking about the recall?
Are they talking? I think they're talking about the LGBTQ
Possibly.
incident.
I don't actually know the incident. Maybe.
I think it was.
Okay, my philosophy on that is if somebody wants to be involved in that particular lifestyle, that's their business. But when we start bringing it into a classroom setting, and we need to have a neutral zone to teach kids, getting back to basics. So the American flag, the Oregon flag, those are something we're kind of all in Oregon. We're all in the United States. But when you start doing this flag and this political faction and this ideology and this, where does it end? So you let two other flags in. Well, then what about this group that wants this and this and this and this? And where do you draw the line to where now you've got this politically charged, this lifestyle charged environment in school, and then you're going to start losing track of the basics. So I think having a neutral zone in the classroom is important.
A neutral
Couldn't
zone.
agree
A
more.
neutral
Yes.
zone.
I mean, how about this? Save it for your college campus.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
Save it for your college
Hey,
campus.
if you want to do that,
Go to UW,
that's
whatever.
your deal.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, that's your deal.
And make it an opt-in at that point too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just crediting people's view and how they see themselves in the world. It's saying, hey, we don't need this in such a tender time in people's lives that they don't need to grapple with things that are adult issues.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's my take on it.
I love it.
We got a whole lot of
Go ahead,
comments
brother.
to get to.
Go ahead.
It says, oh, please, no Kotek for governor. My life has been impacted very negatively from the eviction hold she pushed for. I'm a renter, and we also need the protection from bad tenants. And then it says on the very end, vote Republican.
So they had rentals and they were forced to have the eviction moratorium. Is that what you're
I think
saying?
this person came from a renter,
Okay.
but there's also bad tenants as well. They probably couldn't get out, and I'm sure it was
Right.
affecting what they were doing.
Well, while there was some protections for people and being a real estate agent, and I'm very big on property rights and personal property rights, that was an infringement on personal property rights to take a moratorium for a year and make landlords hold tenants for a year.
I'm not kind of curious where it came from, because if as soon as the courts would shut down coming from one place, they'd pop it up from another one. I mean, none of it was there, and I would almost say that that all those tenants should get in a massive class action lawsuit against the federal government and then maybe the state or whoever pushed it.
Right. There was a point where it was a help in the beginning, but at some point it was taking the rights of the property owner away
Wow.
on the
Yeah,
moratorium.
Maybe offer, the way that would have been best is to offer like some
Subsidies.
sort of subsidy or a reward system for the landlords that chose to work with them.
Absolutely.
Instead of, hey, you're going to do this.
You're going to do this no
We're
matter
gonna,
what.
let's try to find a way to make it work for you and for the tenant at the same time.
Well,
Oh yeah.
isn't that what they did with the shutdown of the businesses? They took your property and ability to make a living, and they're supposed to compensate.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's along those same
called
lines.
eminent domain, I think.
Yes.
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 So,
Yes.
Go ahead,
Go
brother.
ahead. You have lots of
okay.
comments.
Yeah.
We'll-
You want to keep the next one after that?
No, I'll keep the next one after you.
Someone once said 90% of KG and kindergarten and first graders think the other gender has cooties. Under the definitions, those kids get called LGBTQ because
It's true.
they don't want to be with the opposite sex.
That's
The
true.
reality is they are too smart to get involved.
That's true. That's true.
That goes for much older people too.
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead. I heard you
just
say.
just something that came up is we've got to stop drawing boxes and putting labels on people.
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
It's absolutely fracturing our society.
Yes, it is.
And then you take it down into the schools, and we're just fracturing the children. We need to be back into the whole child. Leave all of the external, as much as possible. Let them have a childhood.
That's very interesting you say that, because back in the day when we were going to school, we naturally broke out into the groups.
Mhm.
We had the groups at the lunchroom, in the lunchroom, the popular, the musical, the jocks. Now we're going to just split up even more subgroups under that and group and group and group.
I know. It's too much.
It's too much.
It's too
It's
much.
sensory overload.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Definitely.
No more labels.
No more. No more.
It's all yours, buddy.
Yeah. Speaking of that, they put the fences and barriers in the handicap parking. Was a nightmare trying to get to the federal building with a wheelchair. So this must have been one of our wheelchair
My
beers.
grandson is in a wheelchair. He's 3. He has a disability, and so I'm very sensitive to that. I think we don't have enough accessible parks too for children, because I really started to notice that because my grandson is disabled, that there's not enough parks that have like handicap disabled like play structures and things where kids can interact. So I totally relate to that. Definitely. We need to solve that.
Well, like not ADA, but like just disabilities be something that you push heavily for if you're sitting as a commissioner?
I think that we need to look at some of our playgrounds that do not have accessibility for kids to be able to participate into sensory activities. So I think it's something that's close to my heart.
Wow.
Having my grandson, be in a wheelchair at 3 half the time.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
By the way, I want to leave the next 2 to you because I think they're funny. Go for 'em.
Portland or Gotham equals Gotham.
I know.
Portland's
What you said earlier.
yes. Portland's problem is the DA.
Oh yeah. I agree.
If Brown keeps it closed, she doesn't have to take public input before passing laws.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you alluded to that earlier.
Yeah, she's been ruling by executive order. It's totally been in the gray.
Yeah.
And the mandates are not laws, and a lot of people don't know that.
Mandates are not
Mandates
laws.
are not laws. And
Yes.
Oregon
Yes.
administrative rule is not a law.
Yes.
Exactly. Mandates are not
not
laws.
laws.
Stop saying they are.
Yes. As a matter of fact, we have been into lately First Amendment auditors and things like that. We talked a little bit about that for the last show. And the whole premise is to exercise your rights or you'll lose them. And there's a right and a wrong way to do it, and we acknowledge that. But we watch the ones who are reputable and they actually have a meaning to them. And one of the First Amendment auditors, they tried to get him to take off his or put on a mask, and they said it was a mandate, and he said mandates aren't laws. Mandates aren't laws, and I think he was allowed to just go ahead without his mask because of that. But yeah.
It's just crazy the lack of knowledge on our public. Kind of touching on that real quick.
Yeah.
If you want to cue up the next one real quick, I'll say this. But I've noticed that a lot of public officials don't actually have a good understanding of what the basic rights are and how to approach those, from law enforcement to, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just they haven't really run into it, or it's been a consideration, or it's just not part of the training. But especially the county workers, and I know some a lot of these audits are talking about, is they don't understand the basic stuff, such as there's always a big one is they don't like to be filmed in a government building, and then that's always a big thing, and people tend to freak out about that, and that's a basic right coming from freedom of the press. So what are your thoughts on like maybe understanding of those rights, and how would you approach if maybe you run into a weird situation like that, or it came up to you?
So if somebody wanted to film me in a public building,
Let's just say you're walking down the hall and you run into someone filming you and walk around and filming the building. It's a random creative.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, everybody has cell phones. It's kind of commonplace these days, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
I think the polite thing to do is just say, hey, do you mind if I film you? And, maybe just, if you're not feeling comfortable, but I don't have a problem with it personally.
So if you saw a policy on the building that says no filming in government buildings, would that be something you'd support, or you would?
I think, again, filming creates accountability. So I think that's probably why it's on the building.
I love it.
Of the government.
Joe's coming to your building first.
I don't see an
I'll be
issue
with
with it.
Yes,
all of the meetings are televised. I mean, what's the difference?
Oh,
Exactly.
Yes.
I know it needs to be cute.
Oh,
Is that too much
yeah.
common sense?
No, you are full of common sense. Come on. Portland has literally piles of... Did you read this already?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
You're right on cue.
A viewer said Portland has literally piles of feces on the sidewalks. It's vile.
Yep. You should read the next one and say with emphasis.
Mark, hell yes.
There you go.
Billman.
Mark Gilman. Yeah.
March 18th, Freedom Convoy, Oregon State Capitol. I think it's something special for you there.
Oh,
Yes.
that's right. Make your announcement.
Yes, I am speaking at the Freedom Convoy, the Occupy Oregon. I'm speaking with Mark Thielman, so that will be wonderful. It's civic engagement and action, and that's what it comes down to. Is just because the mandates, a piece of the mandates have been lifted, a lot of people are locked out of their professions that they've spent $40,000 on their college education, and they can't work unless they comply. So
Yeah.
there's a whole group of people that have been now locked out of
Nurses
their
and
right.
doctors and
Absolutely.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it is not done, and this is just a little token.
Mhm.
So we cannot forget that. So that's why I'm there.
so on. Keep that in
speaking.
mind.
18th,
Yep.
Friday.
Yep,
Yep.
Friday
Be
the
there.
18th. Yes. So I'm speaking there to acknowledge the fact that we need to drop all mandates. It's gone far enough, and the damage is too much.
Dan, I know we have a lot of viewer comments, so I'm going to ask this really fast. Why haven't we heard hide nor hair, do you think, of the convoys that have been happening thus so far? Are we not burning down buildings, so it's not good news, or what's going on here?
Well, frankly, I think that with Canada and what Canada did, I think they got a little nervous. So they kept it really quiet and suppressed because they don't want to highlight it, because they want this whole situation going on in Europe. I think they're still trying to implement things under the surface, so they just want to keep all the resistance quiet. I mean, it's the same thing we've been dealing with the censorship all through the last 2 years.
Okay.
With certain medicines being not allowed, treatments, it's the same thing,
So
different.
that means everybody make it as loud as you possibly
Honk
can.
those horns, y'all.
Yeah, please do.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Come down. Be down there.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
So one of your viewers actually kind of talked about Canada. Wants to know, what are your thoughts on Canada mandatory gun turn-in or confiscation next month? Knowing our neighbors are unarmed that close to Russia is concerning. So
I think that, again, we would have been in a similar position as Australia in Europe had we not had our Second Amendment in this country during this time, because Australia, I mean, they were arresting, the police were, I mean, it was terrible. It was become a police state over COVID in some other countries. So don't turn in your guns. My God,
Yes.
keep your rights.
Keep your rights.
Fight
Keep
for
your
'em.
rights.
I
Fight for
always-
your rights,
I always
Canada.
say if they need to come for my guns, I'll return them in one bullet at a time.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right. But it's not surprising it's happening in Canada.
no,
Oh,
you have
yeah.
to ask yourself the
thought they had
motivation for doing
protections.
that
I
is
thought so, too.
clear. The motivation for doing it is clear. They
Yeah.
want to disarm people because they don't want people to be able to protect themselves, because they've got some really bad policies coming. And actually, Canada I just read that they were instituting a basic income, like a basic guaranteed income.
A base.
Mhm.
You know where that's headed.
That's gonna run every business
You know,
out of Canada.
Yep.
That's stage.
Yep.
Whatever on
Yeah.
the tier of tyranny.
You know it.
You mean on the what was that book they called something, the checklist or something? What's that book? It's a communist checklist.
Oh,
or
The
something?
communist-
Great Reset.
No, something like that.
The
or-
Great
yeah.
Reset. That's a lot of people have been reading The Great Reset.
Yeah,
as a
the
matter
World
of fact.
Economic Forum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone says our lunches are far above the most of the nation. By the way,
No way.
our
Yes.
lunches are far above most of the nation.
It says, if we take care of those core three things, the need for welfare spending will also decrease greatly.
Good point. Good
Agreed.
points.
Yeah.
Agreed.
They have made it very difficult for parent volunteers during the COVID. And by the way, comments jump around, as you know.
It's wonderful.
Parent
I'm
volunteers
glad.
during COVID, and around here, I heard they only allow parents to observe for 30 minutes, which is
Wow. I agree on teachers' assistants. My kid needs a one-on-one for school, and that has not been available for a long time.
yeah. I mean,
We talk about one-on-one.
Start writing your legislators. Start writing your senators. Make your voices heard. We have to get into civic engagement. I am big into civic engagement.
You heard it here.
yes,
You heard it here.
voice of the people, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Through COVID, there was no volunteering allowed. Still isn't.
Wow.
COVID's over. Open it up.
Yes.
Yep. Teach your kids to dial home and leave the phone on when they are concerned about what's being said.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
They're finally catching up. Finally, should the high school teacher or HS teacher? I'm thinking that means high school. Should the high school teacher be teaching who kicked kids out for wearing? Should the high school teacher who kicked the kids out for wearing Trump shirts and requires students to out their pronouns on every to put their pronouns on every paper? So basically, this question is: was that here in Estacada, right?
I thought that was. I didn't know.
It
was here? Okay.
So it was right here in Estacada.
Yeah.
There was a high school teacher who kicked a kid out for wearing a Trump shirt, and then basically makes all the students put their pronouns on the paper.
Oh no.
Yeah, right here in Estacada.
No.
What?
If there's violence on your shirt or something really,
Yes.
I mean, that's one thing that you're like, you'd have a talk with the parents and say, hey, but wearing a political shirt, no, come on. No.
So
I don't
the question
agree
was,
with
should you think you should be teaching or?
the pronouns and making them put pronouns? No. Kids need the freedom to write their name.
Their
you
name.
Can't force your perspective on kids.
Yes.
So no, that's the newer language that's coming. It's
crossing a line.
Yeah, it's crossing the line, and no, I think kids should just be able to be kids.
Exactly.
It's a little bit of a slippery slope though
It
too.
is.
If you have the high school student who puts their pronoun like they're
If they
Fred
want
but they're
to,
Shirley.
If they want
so
to,
Shir-
that's fine. That's their deal.
Exactly.
Right.
And
Fred Ethel.
Things like that. They really pisses me off. And
Mhm.
I'm a patriot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a patriot for this country. I'm a patriot and I fought for the country. And things like that really piss me off. And sometimes I just really want to be able to express myself and how pissed off I am.
Mm-hmm.
And what better than to have a shirt or gear that tells me how pissed off I am from like Pissed Off Patriot, right?
Right.
You have those?
We actually have those in our merchandise. We have Pissed Off Patriot line in our merchandise. And you can actually pick up some things like that, like shirts and water bottles and things. Why don't we take a quick look at what we got here?
I want a water bottle.
I know you. Yay! That showed off quicker than I thought.
Okay, Pissed Off Patriot. Yes, that's okay if somebody wears that.
Yes.
Yes, I'm a pissed off
That's
patriot.
mild.
Yeah.
That's mild.
Or the Pop Squad, why not? Have a water bottle or a cup or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey Donna, how do you feel about the People's Convoy in DC, and would you join us in Salem on the 18th? Well, I think you have your answer on the second one,
Yes.
but how do you feel about this?
I think enough's enough. I think people have been put through the ringer and done some in this country over the last 2 years. I think the emergency has been extorted and people are worn out and they just see if we do not draw a line in the sand, it's going to get worse. So I am totally for it. And I'm speaking at the convoy on the 18th.
On the 18th.
Actually in Salem
So,
with Mark Peelman.
Mark that. Malala, everybody, get that. She's going to be speaking.
Yes.
I'm trying to get my brother to be down there, but he does something that a lot of Republicans do, and it's called work.
Mhm.
So he has to work during the day and make a living for his family.
That day,
And he has something else that day, so he can't even be a part of it. So I was thinking about taking his truck. Even though I don't drive, I'm thinking about taking his truck. I might make it as far as out the driveway. He'll be a pissed off patriot.
You won't even make it into the driver's seat, my man.
Oh,
That's my baby.
That's your baby. It is his baby.
It's about our civil rights.
Yes.
It's about our human rights. It's about our God-given rights.
Yes.
And we've had those infringed on pretty heavily. Yes, there was an emergency. Yes, people, the sickness was real. But there's also a line where we realize that, hey, we've got this 99% chance of recovery.
Yeah.
We don't need to destroy everybody's lives. We have to move through it. We have to get over it. It cannot be used against us.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing too. They never counted the lives that cost by what the mandate did to people.
Exactly.
Yes.
The collateral damage on it.
Those
Suicides.
skyrocketed. People losing their business.
Yes.
Being stuck inside, not having the interactions. I mean, a lot of other things damaged there as well. They don't talk about that.
Huge.
One of the greatest, I think, interviews we did was with a lady during the shutdowns, a lady named Melissa. And we did this for a campaign against the shutting down of restaurants. And she talked about how, you can watch that video, but it talked about how it not only affected her, it was done during a time when she lost her daughter. I think it's either suicide or car accident. I'm not sure which one it was. So if I'm wrong, I'm sorry about that. But watch that video because it really brings home the impact of those mandates that you can so quickly just...
The collateral damage
The
from
collateral damage.
Actually, we'll post it back up after the show.
Okay.
I wanted to just speak to that briefly, that there was a point where we have alternatives. We have options. It was not just we just blanket the whole state. We shut everybody down for months on end. We have ways to shop. Life's a risk. Some people, they have alternatives if they don't feel comfortable. People can protect themselves with whatever way they feel comfortable. We did not need to be extreme. And you know what? The governor was able to rule an executive order and pass a lot of things that were not good for us during that
I
time.
think she should be held accountable for the overstep she
agree.
did.
Go for it, brother. I hear you.
There she is. That's our thing for the governor right there.
Yep, right there. Go for it, bro. Take it away, man.
The Newberg comment was that they flipping off the parents in the video. That's what it was.
Oh.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
They claim the
Okay.
flag creates a safe zone, but it's not safe for anyone who is a child of a police officer.
Oh,
Okay.
like maybe a blue, if they wear like a blue line type blue flag.
Line.
I don't know. Yeah, I wonder if there's more context in that one.
Yeah.
Or anyone that disagrees with their politics. True.
We need to make a vocational classes mandatory.
Oh, there you go.
Woo!
Couldn't agree with
I
that.
agree with that. I agree with that.
Bring back the medals and the trades back into school.
Absolutely.
Let's talk inflation impacts on elderly and disabled.
Yes.
We have many in our community choosing between it says here, food or medication right now. Oh, I think it means heat, food or medication right now. How do we reach and support them? Congress gave themselves a 21%, I think it's supposed to be 21% raise. So, but yeah, we have people in that area. How would you address it from the county side?
Well, from the county side, we first need to look to see if our mental health services are adequate. We need to take a look and see what county services are, where are the shortfalls, where are aspects of it that need improvement. I mean, those are the ways at the county level that you can address, and making sure programs that are, really reaching the needs of the people. So, when I'm privy to all that, then I'll be able to assess. But the key is I'm going to go in with the philosophy of assessing where are the things that need improving, where are the holes, and that's going to be with a lot of public participation of people coming in and talking about the areas that they feel we need help.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about people sometimes ask you questions about, how you can address this and this and this, but you don't have the information because you're not in the position yet, so it's hard to answer the question.
That's a good point.
So,
yeah.
That's a good point.
It's going in with the right philosophy and the right heart for the job is going into with the fundamentals of, freedoms, liberties, public participation, governing is a collaborative. It's supposed to be collaborative.
Yeah.
So, and we haven't seen the collaboration. We've seen my way or the highway. So
I love what you said. But I love what you said, Joel, too. We need to go a little bit easier on our politicians because when we ask them prerequisite questions, you really can't answer up to a level until you're actually in.
Yes.
So you try to give what you're doing is sharing what your heart, but you're also sharing the knowledge that you already have prerequisite to getting into where you need to be.
Yes, excellent. Thank you for saying that. And that's true because some of the interviews you want to be able to give people really concise answers, but at the same token, I'm not privy to the backstory, the decisions leading up to that, all the different policies and why. And so I'm just doing the best with coming through with my philosophy on things.
And speaking of that, some politicians require on interviews like this for us to have these questions written out. Dana, you came in and said, I trust you. So thank you for that too.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Agree. Look at where they put the wheelchair swing at CRE. Clackamas River
Elementary?
Okay.
No wheelchair can get to it. Token accommodation.
Yeah. Sadly,
Saying that.
Yeah. Sadly, the same shunning occurs in schools. SPED, SPED kids, are not getting educated due to the staff shortage, and that's in quotes, as things aren't accessible. Sorry about that. Leave them behind unless they are my kid, and then I just hire an attorney and my kid participates.
Gotcha. I mean, sometimes that's what it takes, and it's sad that you have to go to that range to get it to actually be done. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying that what you can do at the county level is bring your concerns to the state in the Senate and the House, people that are, hopefully we have a lot of authentic people that are going to get in on this election cycle that you can bring your concerns to and they can take heed. And it's about creating relationships across political spectrums.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, I think no matter what side you're on, I think they care for those in that position. as long as they're not wrapped, the politicians not wrapped into themselves, they all kind of, that's something we can agree on. Is those who struggle and have the disabilities that we want to try to do what we can to accommodate, to try to help them. I think that spans all
common ground.
Exactly.
We have to find common ground.
So
there's certain facets of this last 2 years that have been put in the political arsenal, and we've got to just disarm it.
Couldn't say it. Hey.
You took the word right out.
Well, it's how I feel.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Take it away, brother. You bring us home, man.
Some of us depend on our vehicles to access medical care. Fuel prices are a nightmare for those who are on fixed income, who need to get to a doctor. Add to it, they require mask and medical transport. So, and someone says, thanks for a great show tonight.
Wow. I really appreciated being on, and I love the open discussion about all the key issues that we're all facing, from the federal to the state to the county to the local. And I'm just praying that we get a lot of really, really good people in this election cycle that are going to take hold of it and pull us into the right direction, get us back center in this state.
Wow.
Definitely. And we really appreciate your time out here tonight, and and coming out and sharing and being so open to answer everybody's questions. And
yes,
you got my vote.
Thank
yes,
you.
And mine too.
Thank you.
And mine too.
Definitely.
Yes.
And hey, you guys, we've shared her link in the descriptions. Please go in, check out her campaign there, see what's there. If you can, support the campaign. It takes resources to run.
Oh, big time.
And if you have any additional questions, they can email you.
Oh, absolutely, please. That's open-ended. You have questions, concerns. That's how I will know how to be effective in the role of county commissioner, is knowing what the public feels, and that's what we need to bring back. That's what's missing. That's what we've been starving for. We've been feeling like it's been stripped from us. So we need to return it. And I appreciate it. And thank you, everybody, for your wonderful questions and participation.
Wow.
Thank you.
Awesome. And he loves that sign.
I love this sign. I think I'm going to keep it.
Thank you.
Yes. And don't forget to check her out March 18th down at the Salem.
Occupy Oregon.
Occupy Oregon.
Yes.
Where in Salem is that?
It's at the Capitol.
At the Capitol.
I'm sure
I was going to
we'll
say
see
the
a large
Capitol.
crowd.
Yeah, it's going to be a large crowd.
Large crowd. Get there early.
Thanks, you guys. We'll see you, Brandy, tomorrow at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
And we'll see you next week. And have a good night.
Thank you.